guys, Jen from JCT Rustic Homestead. I thought I'd bring you along in a few projects today. I have little things that have been building up and I haven't been able to get them done for some reason. I think part of it is because my routine is out of normal if you didn't see yesterday's video. So hopefully I can get back on track. We can get a few things done to make my list a little shorter. So hope you enjoy it. Alright, I wanted you to see this stuff so you might not get my head. I need to get oyster shells to the girls, my chickens. And what I had I don't like. I don't like it when they make a mess of it. I just feel like it's a waste. So I picked this container up at TSC for about, I think it was $3.99 plus tax. TSC is our local feed store. You can buy these. I already had one. I think they were more like $4 or $5. They were a little more expensive. And they just screw in here. However, if you have an old pasta jar or a mason jar with a regular size mouth, it conveniently screws in. So what you do is you fill this with your feed or your oyster shells or whatever you want to feed. And you can, well, that might be a mess. You put this on, and then you have a feeder. It filters down, they can eat out of the feeder, and then you have a little bit of a hopper, what we call a hopper or a reservoir, for the feed to sit in. Now, typically this sits on the ground or wherever you're putting your feed. But as I just said, I don't like that mess. I feel like it's a waste. And eggshells really aren't, and you can do grit too. Eggshells and grit aren't super expensive, especially since they don't go through it real fast, but I don't like walking into the coop and seeing a ton of eggshells everywhere or shavings in the eggshells. That's a big problem for me too, because then they don't even realize that it's there. They don't sift through it like horses. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this container because it's slightly larger. You can definitely use a larger mason jar as long as you have the standard size mouth. But this jar has a little bit of a lip right after it screws in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some twine. You can take some rope, or I thought about using that paracord. I have some in the greenhouse. And I'm going to wrap it around here a couple times for stability. And then I'm going to pick 4 points across from each other, kind of like a cross. And I'm going to go up the container. So there'll be one over here, one here, and one in the back here. And it's going to come to a point. And luckily for me, I found an S-hook in the dirt the other day. So I can put that on a S-hook to take on and off easily. And then I'm going to hang it from a rafter. So I'm going to just work on this. You can fast forward a little bit if you don't want to watch it. Whatever you want to do. This is cotton. It's not super sturdy. Craft section is sometimes cheaper than the food section. You can find it in the food section for like dressing turkeys and chickens and stuff like that. Sometimes you can find jute cord or hemp cord in the craft section. So I'm going to approximate, let's say 2 wraps. And then I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to say I have to do a tie, so I'm going to leave a little extra room. Come up here. Back down. Little extra room. Whoop. Now I got oyster shells all over the kitchen table, because that's what I had them in. Alright, and then I'm going to need 2 of those because I'm going to create a cross. Now, I didn't tie this around the neck yet because, as experience has taught me, it's a little hard to get these cross sections through a tied string. Just a note. So I am going to wrap it loosely. Maybe I won't. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take my 2 long pieces that are gonna be hanging, and I'm gonna cross them. Kind of like a package. So I got one going one way and then I got the other going the other way. And then I can cinch it up, take my double wrap, and I'm not going to tie it super tight. It does stretch. This kind of cord stretches, so just watch that. But I'm going to leave it a little loose so I can tighten my cross strings. Not super loose. Alright. Now, I do want to make sure that it's reasonably level, because if you get these strings off balanced or to one side, it'll just sit kind of whopper jawed. Very technical farmer term there. So I'm going to tie this, because I already looped it through my main string there around the neck. I'm actually going to take out a lot of slack because I just had another idea. Make sure it's a knot, and preferably a square knot. If you don't know how to do a square knot, Google it. Alright, so that's one string. Kind of come over to the other side. Luckily I made my string a little longer, and I am going to run it so I don't have a ton on the end. And as best I can, I'm going to try to do it directly across from the other knot. Again, trying to do a square knot. Alright, so that's one string, two sides done. Now I see how I have all that extra. I did kind of plan for that in the beginning. Thank goodness, because I just realized something else I needed to do with this. Now, the other string, I'm just going to do the same thing. Running out so I have a little bit on the end. Tying a square knot, and I didn't quite make sure it was halfway between the other two knots, because we're just making a quarter like a pie, but it slides a little easily unless you are like super tight with your knots. I wasn't, but that's okay. And it does get a little confusing if you don't pay attention. All right, here's my other side. Alright, my quarter of the way is a little bit in the way by my knot around with the double string around the neck, but that's okay. I'm going to clip all these strings, one, so they don't get tangled in the grooves when I screw this on, and two, chickens tend to eat anything stupid. So I'm just going to clip these off a little bit. Hopefully they don't rip through with the weight. Maybe I should have made sure they were tighter. Probably should have made sure they were tighter. Yep. Make sure your knots are tighter. I'll just have to redo it. Close. And I guess you could leave them long if you wanted to mess with it. Now, this extra here is where I would tie. This is how you're hanging it. But one reason why I'm kind of glad I have all this extra room is because I'm going to do what they call a half hitch. Kind of. At least that's what we call it. So I'm taking all four strings, kind of getting them closer together in the center. I'm actually going to do a little bit of a twist to make it a little easier for myself. If you're not very crafty, I'm sorry. You're going to have to figure out something else. Alright, so there's my half hitch-ish. Hopefully my strings are somewhat even. Kind of just pulling them around. And then what I can do is I can string a string from the ceiling with a loop on it and then hang the S hook. If you don't know what they are, they just look like an S. And then I can hang this in the S hook. So when I need to refill it, I can just unhook it from the S hook, fill it, screw the bottom back on, and hang it back up. And there you go, you have a hanging feeder. Some people just feed their birds with a feeder like this. This, however, is not large enough for our birds. This would last like an hour. But it will last quite a while with our oyster shells or grit. So if you try this, let me know how you like it. They may start playing with it because it's going to be suspended. You know, it's going to spin and rock and stuff. So you might not want to fill it super full in case they get real wild with it. But let me know if you try it and what you think. Project 1, done. Alright, I'm back in the chicken coop, and this tangled mess is paracord, and excuse all the girls talking, sorry. I keep looking at this side and I'm supposed to be looking at that side. It's paracord, and it's a plastic cord, I think, nylon, plastic of some sort. The best way to cut it is actually to burn it with a lighter, because if you cut it with a pair of scissors, it just starts fraying. You could cut it with scissors and then I just take a lighter like this, and I actually cut it while burning it. But you could cut it with a pair of scissors or knife, and then melt the end so it doesn't fray. Whatever works for you. And there's probably a better, safer way. I have burned myself because it lit on fire, and then I blew it, and I blew hot plastic all over me. I think I might still have a scar. But anyway, I hung it up here, this 1x12, and we have the chicken wire stapled along the top to keep it from sliding down. So I kind of looped it through the wire to keep it further this way, because my feeder is right back here. And Raisin's barking at the chickens. In case you don't know what an S hook is, it's literally a piece of metal like an S. I don't know if that'll focus. And this is a little closed up more than what you'd find at the store, but it works. I can just hang my hook like that, and then I'm gonna make a loop at the end of my paracord. And I chose the paracord because it'll last longer, I think, than this cotton, but we'll see. And then I'm just gonna I made it long enough for the height. So I hung it up there, you can kind of see it threaded through the chicken wire. And I did that so it didn't start sliding down. And then this is my cord, and I cut it to the length where it was hanging off the ground some. And I can adjust it. There's a chicken trying to peck my ring. I can adjust it a little bit. I did do it a little longer, but I can just make a loop and see they're already trying to mess with it. And they can easily reach that. So I filled up the reservoir, this bottle here, and then I'm gonna tip this over. I already have my S hook hung. Sometimes it slides off, so just watch it. And we're just gonna go like that. And there we have a hanging feeder. We'll see if my cross with the cotton will stay put, and I might have to redo that with paracord. And I might have to add more string. I might have to have like 8 strings. Would you stop eating my ring? 8 strings instead of just 4. We'll just see. And the other exciting piece of news, look what I found. We have our first egg. I'm so excited. This is so exciting. It's our first egg. But I pulled out some of Dad's to give it a comparison. Pullet eggs, or the chicken's first few eggs in their cycle, will be smaller. These are Dad's. So these chickens have been laying for August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 8 months about. So we think this is the barred rock that does a slightly smaller egg. And then these are about average of what we've been getting, which are probably close to jumbo from the stores. They're pretty large. Sometimes I can't close the lid. But you can kind of see the difference in sizes between a pullet egg, a first layer egg, and some of these other ones. These are about, this is maybe a standard large egg, maybe even a little more. My cousin was doing an experiment weighing them, and he said even our small eggs are almost bigger than the stores on average. So thank you, Nathan, for doing those studies for us. But I'm really excited. I already washed it up because I'm probably going to use it soon. A lot of people don't wash their eggs because it destroys the bloom on the egg. We do wash our eggs for our customers, and it was a little dirty from being laid in the wrong spot, so I went ahead and washed it up a little bit. Another project I'm working on, I don't know if you can see my head, is a grow kit. Super simple. You know, like if you're a parent looking for something for your kids to do, totally do it. Or if you and the neighborhood want to get together so you don't have 9,000 seeds, that's kind of why I'm doing it. What I did, this piece here, I have brown cardstock because I like it. I think it matches our character or the branding that I'm trying to do for our business. And what I did is I made up a Word document. One side it has sunflower information. This is just a test that I kind of goofed. Sunflower information, and then I have 4 different kinds of sunflower seeds, which I listed a little description, how tall they get, how big the flower gets on them. And then it's 2 pieces, 1 column, 2 column. And then on the other side, which it's easier to show you here, is our farm name, kind of a logo Colton took the picture of, and how to get in contact with us. And then on the back side it says grow with us, the contents of the bag, and what to do in order to plant and grow your sunflowers. I kind of ran out of room. I tend to be a long-winded person, long-writing person, in case you hadn't noticed. But it's a synopsis, and they can always get in contact with me if they have questions. So what you need, what I use for mine, is a large Ziploc bag, a small Ziploc bag. Since I have 4 different kinds of sunflowers, I did 4 cups. These are 5 ounce. They seem to work a little better because of the size of some of the sunflower seeds I have. Post-its, tape, and your seeds. The reason why I use Post-its and tape, so this is the sticky end, you know, this is the loose end. You write the type of sunflower. This is a sun gold tall sunflower. They look like those teddy bear sunflowers. Take off the Post-it, fold it with the sticky end. This is the sticky end right here. Fold it together. I do get the super sticky notes, but I'm guessing that you could do this with the regular kind too. Any color. It doesn't have to be this color. This is just what I grabbed at the store. Take a short piece of tape. Tape one end. Again, make sure you label everything. Then you get your packet of sunflower seeds. Or whatever seed. You don't have to do sunflower. You could do herbs or other kinds of flowers. And then, so you created like a little pocket. And I made an opening there. I'm just going to scoop the seeds into that pocket. Take another piece of tape. Put it over the end. And you have yourself a teeny tiny little seed packet. Not everybody needs 75 sunflower seeds. They might only want 1 or 2. And if you have kids, they probably are going to get kind of bored after a bit. So I took each sunflower and labeled it and made a little mini seed packet like this. And then I took my compost with cups and I made sure there were over 4 cups that I poured into this Ziploc bag. Let me open this so you can see. So this is about actually 5 cups of compost, but it's kind of dry, so when it wets down, it'll get a little more compacted, and I wanted to make sure the person had enough. So, and then if you don't have a mini greenhouse at home or anything, I put everything in a large Ziploc bag. So you fill your cups most of the way, say maybe 2/3, 3/4. I filled mine about there. You put your seeds in, and then you top with compost until it's basically full. And then with the extra little weight, you can place them in your large Ziploc bag. Make sure the compost is damp. Make sure you water it. And then you can set your cups in here, and when you start seeing sprouts, you can bring them up. Now, all these cups do have a hole in the bottom. I took a drill, the stack of cups, and I drilled down as far as I could. Took all the drilled hole ones off, drilled again through the non-holes, because these need drainage. Now, in my directions, I say you can put 2 seeds per cup, which is what I did in the greenhouse. I did 2 to 3 seeds. The only thing is, sunflowers, I've read, don't like to be transplanted, but I've heard of people transplanting them. And you don't always get 100% germination. So that's why I say 2 seeds, sometimes 3 seeds per cup. So if you have kids, they can plant the seed, they can take care of it, and watch it sprout. And then once it gets, I don't know, 4 inches high or something, or if you start noticing that it's coming, there are too many roots in the cup, you don't want it to get root bound, you can transplant it outside. So I figured that might be a fun little project for people, especially if you have kids and you want to teach them a little bit of botany, which is the technical term of growing things. Actually, no, I think botany is the study of plants. Well, if you want to be a mini farmer, how's that sound? So you could do this with any kind of seeds. If you and your neighbors, I know we're under a stay in place and you got to be careful with biosecurity, but if you guys wanted to somehow go together on a bag of potting mix, you can do seed starting mix, but seed start doesn't have a ton of nutrients, so you don't want to leave them in there for very long. I have compost and it's worked really well for me. So if you guys kind of want to get together and get a bag of seeds of some sort per household or however you want to do it, the thing that I'm doing with them is I'm actually going to put some kits together, take some pictures, and post them on Facebook. So if there are other people that want to purchase them, I'm thinking like $5. Pretty cheap. It gives their kids something to do for 10 minutes or whatever, and hopefully they can watch things grow. And again, not everybody wants 75 sunflower seeds. And when you get a pack of 4 different ones, you can see the different kinds of sunflowers and watch them grow. So maybe that's a little bit of a way that you can make money on your farm or homestead. If you try it, let me know what kind of seeds you're doing and how it works for you, either with your kids or as a small money maker for you. Your costs, your price is going to depend on your cost. The compost was reasonable for me, especially since I got it in a truckload. Ziploc bags are minimal. They're fractions of a cent. Even these cups, I think, are a fraction of a cent. You can get the generic version for I think they were maybe $2.50 for 150 cups, $2.50. If this card with info is something you want, I do have the sunflower info typed up already. But as far as the layout with your farm and the growing instructions, it's a little bit more complicated depending on your Microsoft Word skills. I can help you set it up probably, depending on time. But if you want this printout, email me. I'll put my email down in the comments. I have a few other download suggestions that I just haven't quite figured out how to add them to our website yet. So, another project done. Well, of course, plans change, and they seem to change all the time. But I am so excited that we got our first egg. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I am. So let us know how you're doing and what you're doing down in the comments. So far, we're still chugging away. We might have more projects to go over tomorrow. Let me know what you think of the sunflower kits. And if you've ever had to hang oyster shells or grit for your chickens, or how you do that so they don't make quite as much of a mess. And if you need help with the printout card thing for the kits, just let me know, because you can change what you're putting in there if you're wanting to do it for yourself. You know, you could do herbs, you could do beans or peas or a mixture of things. It's just totally up to you. So until tomorrow, hope everybody's doing well. Check out jctrustichomestead.com or find us on Facebook, and we'll catch you later.